I'm Shane Weidner. I'm the fire chief of the community, and I have been for a lot of years already. It's my honor to talk to you about the Norfolk Red Cross and Red Cross in general and what it means to the community of Norfolk. And I can tell you that the Red Cross in this community is without a doubt one of our mainstays that we have developed a relationship with through a lot of good, solid folks that really have their hearts in the right spot. Fortunately and unfortunately, I guess, we've had opportunity to utilize the Red Cross's resources and to come together as a community for a number of major events over the last decade plus, really. I mean, from the bank shootings and murders to major flooding to major propane fire events to everyday fire events. I can't tell you enough how much their support means to me. I think the beauty of Norfolk and the relationship with the Red Cross is just that, the relationship. We know these folks by their first name, they know us by our first name, and when they show up in the middle of the night when it's snowing and blowing or the rain's pounding on us or the hail or the emotions are high, as they often are, we can just frankly look right at them and say, you got this, and they give us that look and they got it. And that's the Red Cross management, leaders, staff, supporters, volunteers, the people that really are there where the rubber meets the road.
About 9:30 one night, a storm hit the farm, and I was in Omaha. The kids called and said that they had been hit by a tornado, and it was pretty major, but everybody was okay. We came up over the hill and could see the farm. I was devastated. It's gone. It was, I couldn't believe it. Anyway, my friend Mary Nichols, who has been with the Red Cross for years, was there, and I was shocked she was there, that it wasn't on the radio. How did she know this? Well, anyway, I went up to her and I said, Mary, what are we going to do here? All these people, how are we going to feed them? She says, Jean, don't worry about it. It's all taken care of. The Red Cross has it under control. I provided food for several days. Took care of special needs that the family had, helped them move into our house, and bought them clothes. It was remarkable. I was totally impressed with the Red Cross, and I thought, someday I'm going to pay them back. I asked Mary, I said, well, you know, how could I get involved with the Red Cross? I said, you know, I'd like to do something. And she says, do you want to be on the board? And I said, well, what do I do? And she says, you just said it. So I was contacted by others and have been serving on the board ever since. I did, we helped with the shelter one night. I've gone over to do health fairs at different locations. I do continue to keep the webpage updated. Whenever I can help, I'm available and would certainly be willing to help in any way I can.
Day of our fire was on January 15th. It was a house fire, and I had just came home from work approximately 2:30. The fire was pretty much full flame 25 minutes later. My daughter noticed the fire shortly after I'd sat down in the living room to have some dinner with them, and it was just, she smelt the smoke and she said, Dad, I think I smell smoke. And I got up to look, and she wasn't kidding. It was burning, and it was burning hot. Told them to get warm clothes on and call 911 because we had a big blaze going. And from there, we basically went out to the road, stood on the road, and by the time we got out to the road, the flames were already above the back side of our garage. And then I ran down to shut the electricity off and the propane off on the house because I got to thinking about those items, and we were just standing out there waiting patiently for the firemen to come. And she was panicking.
It was very overwhelming. As you know, we heard things exploding as soon as we got to the road, and you know, you try and think of what should have I grabbed, and you know, we grabbed our cell phones and my purse and my watch and wedding ring, and out the door we went, and that was about all we had time to take. So as we're standing out there, it was a Saturday afternoon, we had no clothes other than some everyday clothes that we had on. It was very cold and windy, and you know, as the house disintegrated in front of us, we had nothing. Deputy Sheriff from Ponca arrived and had contacted Red Cross already that night and wanted to know if we were okay, if there was something that they could do. And then right away the next morning, Red Cross, Mitch and Shell contacted us. Wanted to know if they could meet up with us someplace that day. We had 100 different directions we were going, but they were gracious enough to come to Laurel, where we were storing some stuff in some friends' garage, and were very warm and gracious to us. Gave us a check, and of course just our daily shampoo, toiletries, you know. You just don't realize the things you take for granted until everything's gone, and then it's, oh gosh, I wonder what happened to this, or you go to start something and you don't have it. And so that was very nice to have that check in hand, and we could go and start over and get the necessities that we needed to start with.
Our experience with the Red Cross happened about a year ago. Actually, at the time, our daughter was stationed in Iraq, and our son was up in Alaska. We had a family emergency. We had a flight for life go to Omaha, and we were able to get a hold of our son and daughter both through the Red Cross, and provided a very fast response. Our daughter, within 24 hours, she's on her way home from Iraq, and our son about the same length of time. He got here a little bit later, but it was very quick response.
Well, it was really important to me for the kids to be able to come home when I was so ill. It helps your recovery, I think, a little quicker when your family is with you. Thanks to the Red Cross, it really did make my recovery seem quicker. It's always nice to have family for support when you're ill, and it was just really a welcoming surprise. And for the Red Cross to get our children home so quickly meant a lot. I knew they, helped when there was deaths in the family, but I didn't realize that just for medical emergencies they were really able to help and get people home quickly. Not to be afraid to call and ask for their help, to ask them what programs they have. That you'd be surprised the things that they can do for you and the family. Well,
I think that the thing that really amazed us and surprised us was just the quick response. The Red Cross was on the phone with our doctors, and since we had two children in the military, they were able to get them both at the same time just by the one phone call with the doctor. So it saved a lot of time that way.
So on May 2nd, 2010, Cameron Klitz, trained in American Red Cross Learn to Swim, helped save the life of Joseph Lee. Joseph was canoeing on the lake when he rolled the canoe over about 100 yards from shore. Joseph started swimming toward shore, but about 30 yards out he began to yell for help. Cameron Klitz was on the shore with her mother when she heard Joseph yell for help. Cameron swam out to Joseph and assisted him towards the shore when he could stand up. During that time, her mother had called 911. Cameron stayed with Joseph until emergency medical services arrived and took over. Without a doubt, the skills learned in the American Red Cross Health and Safety Services course and used by Cameron Klitz contributed to saving Joseph Lee's life.
I'm obviously very honored to receive this award. I guess just having it in West Point and being surrounded by my community and where it all happened, it really just, I guess I'm just full of pride to just coming from a community. And I mean, this for me, it happened one day, and as they mentioned earlier today, Patty Shinstock listed kind of all the different people that were on the call, and I guess just those people do this every day. They really, they just sacrifice so much, and I guess for me, it's just I'm honored that I have learned from them and that I walk into life with that, and being from a community where it's second nature to help, any sort of way that you can.
Well, I've started giving blood back because a youngster, I guess my parents had both been blood donors at that time, and they felt that it was important to give to the Red Cross, you know, and do the blood donations as we could. And they had always made me aware that it was important to help other people if you can, and I just seen blood donation to be a way that you can help other people, and people that you don't know even. Through the years, I guess if there was an opportunity to give blood, I would participate in those events when I could. It's always easy to go to the blood donations because they have staff there that are, you know, very welcoming, and I think everybody likes to be part of a team effort, and the Red Cross team has always been a good one, you know, made up of volunteers and people that were just working on a mission that had a good purpose. You know, it's just a good process to get involved in. You know, if it's the first time you've donated, it's really not anything that's difficult to do. I guess the thing that always came to my mind was that if it was a relative of mine that needed a blood donation, I would hope that the blood would be there for them. And so that's something that I've always thought of, and it's just a good environment to be in. I started giving blood probably 40 years ago. I've given 143 units of blood, and it has just been something that I've thought is a good thing to do.
To receive a whole bunch of blood transfusions donated from the Red Cross. I ended up over a total of 18 months having about 95 units of blood and a couple units of platelets. I have a large family. I have triplets that were 3 at the time, and I had a 5-year-old. And I just was extremely tired. I would find myself napping with the triplets in the afternoon almost every day, and then my 5-year-old would come in and say, "Mom, it's time to get up. I need you to play with me." Eventually, one of my friends at the hospital who was a doctor said, "Corey, I would like you to get a chest x-ray. Let's check out what's going on here, and let's check your white count." He thought I had pneumonia maybe. I had been coughing a lot through a gamut of tests, and they weren't able to find anything for quite some time. But about every couple of weeks, I needed to be in the hospital and have a couple units of blood while still working and managing my family. Finally, after 4 or 5 bone marrow biopsies, we had found out that I had myelodysplastic syndrome, and I ended up having a stem cell transplant from an anonymous donor. It took a while after this transplant for my red cells to get better, and so 2 years I have been struggling and getting donations from people who are just gracious and have been blessed with the ability to donate that blood.